don't know if today's the day you want to start with me, Big Stud, but give it your best.
There was 3 seconds left on the countdown. Our internal clock that says after this 3 seconds, make sure the dogs aren't barking, the kids aren't screaming, horns aren't honking, and you're not asking Spencer questions about what footage he's pulled for the show that we're doing in 2 seconds. I know this. Me, the irresponsible one.
Spencer and I, we communicate. He knew who was coming on the show, and I knew Spencer wouldn't let me down on that. And that's why I said I didn't expect it, but what happened? I said, do you have clips? He said, I do.
I'm wearing your shirt tonight, Clint, but unfortunately the pee rubbed off.
Hey, if there was ever a prick Ross, we all know who it was, okay? That is your Rick Ross shirt, right?
It is my Rick Ross shirt.
All right. Today we're going to have 2 of the big winners from this weekend on. Jake Sheridan is going to join us first to talk about Autumn Colors Classic, his win on Sunday in the Electric City 167. And then Matt Williamson is going to come on and talk about what's been pretty much an astounding few weeks for him, winning the Victoria 200 and then Bo sweeping the small block, big block at Dirt Week, pocketing well over $100,000 US, which is crazy. So we'll talk to Matt about what it's like. And it wasn't easy. Had trouble with both cars throughout the weekend, and he'll come on to talk about how that was and where he goes from here into the fall, shouldn't call it the Fall Nationals, the World Finals. Brockville's up, though, this weekend. We'll talk a little bit about that with Matt as I get over to the Kirkland's place in Brockville there for the Fall Nationals, which caps off the Super Dirt Series. But Jake Sheridan's going to join us in a few minutes. You and I'll talk about our weekend at Peterborough, which is a long one for our crew. Oh, boy. It's like stringing 3 nights together on Sunday alone. Like, I think we were 10 hours of broadcasting on Sunday. We started at noon, and it was 10-ish by the time we were done.
Yeah, it was all of that. My voice, I've recovered from the weekend. My voice hasn't quite, but it'll be fine.
So talking that long wears out your voice?
Yes.
Why could that happen more often?
It
really doesn't matter. Like in the mornings when you bug me and I don't want to deal with your bullshit yet.
We didn't talk today.
No,
we didn't
you
talk
set me
to
off the wrong.
Listen,
well, you said I'm irritable, and I said I'm pissy too, so we just avoided each other all day.
Which was good. I'm going to poke the bear a little bit tonight, but that's okay. You're bringing it to the table. I'm going to share my opinion.
Which part? Which discussion?
You'll know when we get there. Yep.
Okay, well, Jake Sheridan is going to join us soon, so maybe we shouldn't dive into that just yet because we don't want to get that interrupted. Do you want to bring it up and start it and let the people get their opinion on it, or you just?
I don't want to put. We could. I don't want to put you in. The fun thing is, I don't know f all about the program. I just know you designed it wrong. Maybe Erica designed it wrong, but one of you designed it wrong.
Wow. All right. I guess we are going to fight about it. Because, you know what? We didn't have to do nothing to stay there. We didn't have to do nothing. Right. We tried to do something for the teams, and they chose not to cash in on it.
As it turns out, for most of the teams, you did nothing. But neither did they. So I always, and this boils down to, and I learned this.
I'm going to get super pissed off because we are the only track out there doing this shit for our guys. And you're going to sit in my face and make it look like we're doing the wrong thing. Bring it on. Bring it on. I'm excited for this one because I got a lot of passion about this.
Do you want to know why? I learned a lot. When I went to work for Cal Tire, Sean Doyle was the big boss. And we're sort of related, but not really. He was a bit of a tyrant for a long time to work for. Got better towards the end. He's retired now. But no matter what happened, it was our fault. Why did this happen? What did we do wrong? What should we have done differently for this to not happen? So I see you're looking at the result, and your points are valid. I don't even know what they are yet, Clinton, but I know your points are always valid. But I'll take the knee-jerk reaction of what did we do wrong?
Sure. All right, well,
because you
let's
want
start the discussion. Since we're here right now, nobody knows what we're talking about. So if Jake jumps in, he'll just have to hang tight and we can pause this fight. So at Oshweekend this year, well, for the last 10 years since I've been manager, we have a program with Hoosier Tire Canada that we get a certain amount per car that shows up per event to pay back to the racers. In years past, we've given that away by everybody who had perfect attendance. It was a way for us to kind of give that carrot for you to come out those last weeks or two when you were not feeling it, because you knew you could get anywhere from $300 to $400 depending on how much, the actual formula calculated by the end of the year. It's a deal between $12,000 and $14,000 typically every year that gets split. There were some complaints that, well, we weren't sharing it enough with the drivers who maybe did 80-90%, who still contributed, bought tires. Well, then this year we get into a situation where we're kind of backed into a deal where we agree we're going to switch tires to a harder, better tire for the long-term economy and to work with our sister tracks and groups around us. So that meant everybody was at some point this summer going to have to buy a new tire, or so we thought. Crates ended up they got to run the full year on the tire because they didn't use them up enough when we were extended that deal 2 years, so they weren't forced into it. But still going forward, they're going to have to do it. We went to Hoosier Tire and said, in lieu of that $12,000 to $14,000, would you give us approximately $10,000 up front in vouchers that our teams can come? So every driver who had perfect attendance from last year got 4 free $50 vouchers to come in and knock $50 off of 4 tires. If you registered at our drivers meeting in March, you got 3 tires if we didn't have perfect attendance from the previous year before. That took us to 49 drivers. Bring up that sheet, Spencer. So 49 drivers. And I blocked it out because I don't know, some guys want to know whether they did or who didn't, or why sponsors are mad, why you didn't take advantage of this. So of 176 potential vouchers we put together, free for the teams, all they had to do was claim it when they went to the BRP counter at Hoosier Tire Canada to pick it up. Only 10 were redeemed out of 176 opportunities. So $500 worth of tire vouchers were redeemed out of 8,800, which was on that sheet. And if we ran out, we had opportunity to get more. So when I got that sheet back, I was a bit confused by that, because we're doing everything, and all I hear from the teams is how much tires cost. Then tariffs came in, and sprint car tires are nearly $700. So you tell me what we did wrong and why the teams wouldn't take those $50 gifts that we went out and worked together for Hoosier Tire to make that happen. So where are we in the wrong for what we did there? Now, it was in every group. Every team knew about it. So your argument to me earlier was, oh, maybe they didn't take tires. You tell me Westbrook didn't buy 4 tires. The Turners didn't buy 4 tires. The only guy who bought 4 tires off that list, I'll tell you, was Alan Downey. Maybe the smartest guy, who was a doctor and had university education, is what it took to get. I don't know how he's the only one that put this all together. And other guys took 1 or 2, and I can't believe some of the lower most budget teams who bitch at me about tires constantly and the price of this deal didn't take up on this. So where did we screw this up? You tell me how we did this wrong.
Does this take? You should have left it the way it was, and the drivers would get something at the banquet based on a simple formula. It's like a money back guarantee.
We're trying to help the drivers up front with costs of something that we were imposed on them with the rule. So we said, yeah, you have to eat this shitty dish, but here's a discount to make it taste a little bit better.
Right, and only
I'm just shocked. Hey, I'm not mad. It's not my money. It's not my money. It's no skin off my ass. But when we go out and we work hard to put these programs in, so I'm curious to you to tell me, so you're just saying we should just not mess with the program ever. And then you'd have 9 guys, you'd have about 18 guys that would get money instead of 49 guys getting a benefit at a chance at it. How is that more fair?
Yeah. Those 49 drivers don't all buy. It doesn't matter.
Adam, so you're telling me not one of those drivers? Like, no, I'm not letting you off the hook this easy, man.
There's $10,000. There's $10,000 or so that's not going to be paid to the drivers.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's their own fault. It was there on the table. They didn't take it.
Right. They might not.
And if it was such a bad program, how come nobody at the beginning of the year when we announced it and promoted it said, oh, this is terrible, this is bullshit? It was nothing but roses and peaches from those guys. So your argument okay, out of 49 guys on that list, maybe 10 of them didn't buy 1 tire because they got it from the used shit pile of someone else. But I have a hard. You're telling me Darren Dryden's crew didn't buy 4 tires this year? You're telling me Westbrook didn't buy 4 tires? You telling me both Turner guys didn't buy 4 tires? I call horseshit. They're putting a tire on there every freaking week as it was.
Hey, I work in sales. My goal is to make a customer feel good while I squeeze as much profit out of a relationship as I can. find the little areas that you can do better and make a little bit more money. It's a lot of money that didn't get put to use.
Mm-hmm.
The plan looks good on paper, and it didn't work. So I would do it differently next year.
You're not steering that ship, bro. I am. So we'll see how it goes.
I get it.
Let's bring on our guest, Jake Sheridan.
I don't like tire deals to begin with, and we can talk about the Super Dirt Series, how Hoosier Tire paid the points fund for years. No, they didn't. The drivers paid their own points fund.
Yeah,
they just didn't realize.
I'll give you that. But the tire companies don't have to give us nothing back. They could say lump it, and we have a good partner who has a good formula that, based on our car counts, kicks back.
So you're going to get mad at me, but whoever's idea that was, it didn't work out the way you wanted. I've had lots of ideas that didn't work the way I expected them to in my mind.
It didn't work out the way I thought, because I thought the drivers would have sure jumped all over it. So,
and they should have, and they have to own. They have to own that, but ultimately you have to look back and say, okay, we had a gift horse.
Ultimately, I guess I'm talking to the drivers who are always in my face bitching about the cost of tires and how Hoosier Tire are just, take. They tried to give back. We tried to give back. They didn't take advantage of that. So I have a list of the drivers, and when those teams come to me and bitch about tires, they can blow it out their ass. Jake Sheridan,
I'm going to
bring him on the show.
I'm going to pick on somebody, and Jake can come on for this. That's fine. We all know Steve Gary, who works for Darren Dryden's crew. And I actually joke with Steve Gary, but he will find something to bitch at you about. You take one thing away that he bitches about today, he will find something new tomorrow. And he's always been like that. It's his way of participating in a conversation. The point being, the people who bitch about something. Jake, have you known many bitches in the racing business?
Nope, never.
Let's pretend you did. Do you think they're ever going to change, or are the people that you thought, they're a little bitchy, they find something to complain about? Do they always find something to complain about?
Yeah, no, there's people that, you're not going to win. I mean, you guys are in a bad spot. I mean, my dad did the race director role too, and I feel like I've matured in racing as far as more than just being a wannabe driver, and there's a lot of guys you race against that are going to bitch, and they're going to bitch so that you're thinking about them in the way they want you to think about them too. So it's never going to end.
I want to open the question. I'm sorry, I'm going to open it on a negative, Jake, because I want to see. I heard around a campfire Saturday night, people thought you shouldn't have been there at Peterborough. Some teams should be down in the States chasing big races. They shouldn't be here cherry picking. I'm like, what? How do you react to that?
Yeah, trust me, I'm trying as hard as I can. I think that's crazy, but I mean, I get it. They want it easier on themselves. So if that's how they want to go about winning races, and I get it. I don't know, man. I'm trying my best to move on, but it's hard. So some people have an easier path to get to greatness. Some people got to be happy with what they're doing. And I mean, if I wasn't there, it would have been somebody else that walked away with it. So just super thankful for the opportunity to get the chance to race where I am. I mean, it's a loaded question. It's fine. I know that. I know that they've been saying that, and people were saying that when it wasn't me, and they're gonna say it when it's not me in 10 years, and it's not me every week. So there's guys that come up here, and it's always gonna be there. It's always been like that. People have been saying that at Delaware, but when it was Steve Ralby winning 11 of 13 races a year, so. I'm just thankful to be able to race at a platform that big in Canada as it is. And I just I've never won an ACC race. It's my second ACC weekend of my entire life. So I think that's funny that it's coming that soon, and I take it as a compliment.
Awesome.
Jake, what's been the biggest thing this year to get you kind of, I don't want to say over the hump, but man, you're a contender every night in 2025. What brought you to that next deal where you're unloading as a threat every night?
I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again, but how's that saying go? Success is when preparation meets however it goes, preparation meets chance, or however it works out. Yeah, opportunity, but it doesn't matter. All those things. we've been doing this as the best we can for a long time, and it hasn't really worked out. I think there's been, not this year, of the 4 years prior to this, out of 3 of those years, we've just been struggling, man. We've had good race cars and had good finish when we can get to the finish, and just had tough opportunities. And I think there's no doubt that this year a huge part of my success has been McCall Racing, and I can't take it away from them. So we've been prepared. I've learned a lot of things, the hard way as far as racing wise, and I haven't got to lead every single lap of every race before, so I've learned hard things and learned what to do to control the race when you're up there, which obviously played a role this weekend. And I've had a really, really, really great race car all year long, and really, really great preparation. And look at Flamborough. We got the rad knocked out of it on race 2, and there was a rad and an oil cooler sitting in the trailer, and everything we needed, and aluminum, and everything we needed to keep the car going, and we won the 3rd race. So you don't always get lucky. It doesn't always work out on your side, but we've had a long time of seeing the crap to know what we need to be prepared for, and just years of experience in McCall Racing and some great partners financially have really put us in a position that I've been dying to have my whole career, and I'm thankful that we could have made the most of it as much as we have this year.
Yeah, man, the success looks good on you for sure. So I want to paint a bit of a picture, and then you can tell me what it was like to navigate it. 26 cars started the race at Peterborough. There was a lot of slower traffic. In fact, I can't remember the last short track late model race where a car was black flagged for not being able to keep minimum speed on the track. That's how big the variance was in speed. So you might have led every lap, Jake, but you were the first one to come up on those hornet's nests. How challenging was it to navigate some of the traffic this weekend?
98% of them were very, very, very respectful. There's so much goes on that it's hard to see from the outside. And when you have a good car like that, you try and put a little bit of distance on yourself when you need to. When you get in lap traffic, you hold your 6 to 8 car lengths, whatever you're comfortable with the whole time. And when it's time to go for a couple laps to get a break, you do. And obviously, patience was a virtue there, and it's easier to be patient when you have a good race car. It all rolls back to having a good race car. Getting beat up on restarts, it's easy to be patient and let a restart or 2 go when you have a good race car. So really, honestly, the lap traffic was very respectful. You can't ask for any more than that. You should be able to go around the top as the leader and do what you need to do respectfully. So it's definitely a different role in the game. We knew that track position was going to be important on a long run, because it's hard to pass someone. Even when you're faster, it's hard to pass somebody if you're putting a lap car down every single lap. It's easy to get used up as a pig or get pinched on the bottom behind a lap car. So obviously there's probably the most pressure we've seen all day right there, and I was like, oh, it's time to go. So once we get down to running with the lap cars, it's important to be in the position you need to be in, and thankfully we were, and we had the equipment to back us up all day.
Jake, let's talk about, we always make a lot about lap cars giving, being courteous to you. At one point in the broadcast, our guys mentioned that, you were waving to thank the lap cars because you may have to see those guys 2 or 3 more times a day. So how does that, kind of the politeness come back from you when you are the leader? They're supposed to give you that, but, how are you paying that back throughout the race as well?
That's kind of an old school thing, but I think that's something that should be done every week. If someone doesn't screw you over, you should give them a wave. I think, if they go out your way, some of those guys were racing for position, and they went out of the way to lift and stay single file for you to go by. Is that expected? For sure, but I think it gets rude and arrogant more than anything when it's expected and nothing's paid back, and you get mad at nothing when it doesn't go your way in the future. So I think that's totally how it should be, and I've been lapped a lot in my career as well. I've had a lot of days that don't go properly, or in the first 10 laps of the race you get toe knocked out or front end knocked off, and you're just doing all you can to salvage what you can. And it feels nice. It feels nice when I know I should be racing with the top 5-6 guys, and the guy gives you a wave. I did do what was respectful, and I mean I learned a lot of lessons from, not that I'm in any way comparable to them, but when Bubba Pollard came up to Chicasa, he come over through the field and hey guys, thanks so much for having me, and he he asked when he was registering for the event, are the guys going to welcome me there and that kind of stuff. And it's not the same thing, but I went through on Sunday morning. I went through from the back of the pack and shook the guys' hands and really appreciated them welcoming us in there. And there was nothing bad said before that race, and just wished them all good luck. And I think that kind of stuff goes a long ways. So I think that's just the kind of stuff you have to do in that situation.
So, Jake, I'm going to read a comment that was put in by Dan McCaddy. It would be ridiculous for anyone to think Jake shouldn't be at the ACC to race. Who doesn't want to compete against the best in the province? As a spectator, that's what you want to see at the big events. Pleasure to be on the same track as him.
Wow.
So, not everyone.
No, that's something pretty nice to be said by, like, one of the longest late model short track racers in Ontario, and someone that's done it, Canada, U.S., and won. I don't know how many. Ask him how many championships he won there. 11. Like, he's probably won more championships than years I've been alive or years I've been racing. So that's pretty spectacular to do that. And he's a great sportsman on the track and off the track. He's probably the only guy that's willing to help you, whatever you ask him for before the race. We talked a couple times before the race, and I asked him about tires, and he was teasing me about having wheel covers on my car when I was working on it all night long. And I think that's hilarious. That's awesome. I said right to him, he was asking me about the wheel covers. I said, well, you got to watch. You get these home builders running around here pretty quick, and obviously we're going to do what we can. So I was teasing him right back, and you can't ask for a more stand-up guy than that.
The other question, it's inevitable here with us. Did the drone scare you, Jake? Martin wants to know.
I was shocked. I wasn't sure what I hit at first. Like, I seen him right before I hit it, and I was like, oh, I honestly, immediately I thought, like, did I go somewhere I shouldn't have? Like, how much did that cost? I probably just hurt him. Like, I probably just did something I shouldn't have, but I was like, couldn't really miss it. I didn't see it, honestly, until it was 6 inches off the windshield, but definitely caught me off guard. I thought it was hilarious. I love my comment to you. Is this it?
Yeah.
I don't think I got him with the hood. It was all windshield. Like, I watched it, but no, that's hilarious.
Yeah, Abby's hovering here around Halliburton, who got spun out, and you're coming by in the bottom, and I didn't think you weren't expecting him to be that low in your groove. And Nick came over and he told me, he goes, you owe some windshield. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, your drone hit us. And then that's why I ran over to check it out. And then Adam knows I'm so worried that, our stuff, it goes back to Dirt Week years ago when we kicked a beer can onto the track. And I thought, man, these guys know it's going to come from us. We're going to cost somebody a huge win here over something stupid like a beer can or a drone. Thankfully, Dirt Week that race got rained an hour later, and we stopped worrying about the beer can that we kicked on the track over the Hummer. But, yeah, I just thought, oh, man, Jake's got the best car here this weekend. The windshield's going to split in two. He's going to get black flagged, and it's going to be our fault that he doesn't win this race, and he's clearly got in hand. So, no, we appreciate your good spirit. And, I asked McAllister how much that cost. He goes, we'll just buff it out. Don't worry about it. So, if we owe you one, we owe you one.
No, I was totally kidding.
Makes good TV,
I'm holding you what I told you you owe me. You can make up with that in 2026, but
we can square up for that.
Clint didn't pay up.
They say when a bird shits on you, it's good luck. So when a drone crashes off your window, that's good luck too, right?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it any day of the week. We'll always take a little bit of luck on our side.
Where do you go from here, Jake?
What?
Oh, sorry, Adam.
Oh, no, that was going to be my question. What's our off season going to have for you?
I'll pack as much into it as I can. I mean, I think Jake Sheridan personally will be happy to see some more work hours, some more paid hours getting put in the off season. But other than that, we're going to do everything we can to make next year as big as we can as usual. I don't have no idea what Ontario racing looks like for us. Even this year was kind of really last minute, and I wasn't sure how it was going to work out. And I don't know if that deal stands next year or not. It's way too early to tell. So we got our outlaw. We'll definitely, if it works out, then we're definitely going to try our best to run the Owasso stuff. And I've got a couple of races I want to put the outlaw in Ontario, but as of right now, it's hard to kind of commit to running more than those. So definitely going to try and run the outlaw as much as we can. And it's probably, honestly, that program is the best payouts regularly that you can attend. So do as much of that as we can. And if we can get some more state stuff in, we will. But right now, there's nothing really locked in.
Right on, man. Jake, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on a stellar season. and a big win this weekend.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Obviously, a great year to put together like that. They don't happen that often, and when you can, you take them and you roll with it. So remember as much as we can, and look forward to what 2026 brings.
Yeah, wicked. Good luck, Jake. Enjoy the banquet this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Delaware and HC banquet this weekend in London. Gonna be a full house there too. Sheridan, what a year for those guys. You know, if you're running Georgia, how can you be more proud of your boys? Both of them knocking down the top levels. Nicky winning the Nationals. Jake cleaned up everywhere he went. Let's bring in to another guy who's been cleaning up a lot lately. Matt Williamson's going to join us now, fresh off double wins at Dirt Week. Matt, thanks for joining us again. I know we're one of your biggest pains in the asses, but you're getting paid, so you're going to have to deal with us, buddy. What a couple of weeks. And what about the drama? Man, okay, so we know you won these races. We know it was special. We know you got the World Finals. We know you got Brockville Fall Nash coming up. But let's talk about the drama. You come in with two of the fastest cars Friday, or I'm not sure what day it was, but the small block race, you have a frost plug piece come out or something like that, right? As I understand, it's a block heater that you guys have in there. Comes out of the frost plug hole. You lose the water. You run it for a couple laps. The engine's no good for the rest of the week, and then your crew has to hustle to get your own home car back together to get it down there in time for that racing later in a few hours. So talk us through that drama first before we get to the big blocks.
Yeah, it was certainly a week that wasn't uneventful. Started Wednesday, frost plug, like you said, come out of the side of the block. We got a Heil engine heater. It basically cycles warm water through the motor. And there's a -8 AN fitting on the frost plug. It's probably a piss poor design, and it ended up popping out anyways. And I didn't know the motor didn't have any water in it, so I kept racing it and did about 3 more laps until it started to lay down, and I knew something was wrong, so I shut it down right away. But then the guys at home, Wayner and Stan Zankin, got the car down to Rochester, and Anthony, Ray, and my dad met them down at the Leroy exit in Rochester and picked the car up and brought it to Oswego. About 6:45 or so they showed up, and we got the drive shaft in it quickly. We took that out after Fulton because it had 200 laps on it, needed to put U-joints in it. So we got the drive shaft in it quickly, got some shocks on it, changed the rear end gears, and then got it through pre-tech. That was about 7:20 by the time all that stuff happened, and I think our heat went out about 8 o'clock. So we still had some time to spare.
Was there a difference, Matt, that you could feel between the car you started with and bringing your own car?
Honestly, I didn't get enough laps in the car we started with to even know how it was going to feel. The first lap when I went into 3 at speed was when the frost plug went. So I never even really got to hit the chip or figure out how good the motor was beforehand. So I felt terrible for them guys, man. They worked really hard. Joe Denny rebuilt the motor in September. We brought it to him, or they brought it to him just at the beginning of September. And Joe from Gordon worked really hard to get it back to them. And he was gutted. He was gutted and upset about it. But that's part of racing, man. It's just one of them things that's going to happen.
Matt, so you go on, you get your own car, you basically go back to your dominant ways. Did you already have that car set up for Oswego in case this might have happened, like scaled and ready to go, or are they similar, or did you just jump in with the Fulton setup and give it?
No, so after Fulton, I got home from Fulton at 3:30 in the morning on Saturday night. I got up at 8 and washed the car. So it was sitting in the garage. Ray ripped the drive shaft out of it. My dad ran the valves. I cleaned the air filter. Just the weekly maintenance stuff. Because we figured that if anything did happen to our small block, it was going to be during the heat race, and we'd have plenty of time on Thursday to go home and scale it and nut and bolt it and get it ready to go for Friday's race. So it really wasn't ready to go, but we have nowadays you just go off of smash numbers. So we had smash numbers from Fulton when we won, and we set up 4 shocks and springs while the guys were on the road bringing the car to us, and the shocks and springs were ready to go on the car, and yeah, I haven't scaled that car since before Fulton, and ended up winning 40 grand with it. So it was pretty good there, and I'm actually going to scale it. It's sitting behind me. Terry came over and put the head back on today with me, and I'm going to scale it tomorrow.
Matt, why are you so good at Oswego?
I don't know. It certainly is a racetrack that suits my driving style. I don't throw the car into the corner, and that's why I don't have success at some places. You know, like I'm going to say Drummondville, for example, in Quebec. That's a place that I never really go to and have great success. Obviously, we were a little better this year, but not as good as we could be. Brockville's another example. Brockville with a big block, I'm not very good in time trials and heat races, and it's a car where you really got to get the car bent getting into the corner and throw the car into the corner, and I'm not good at that. So Oswego, I feel like when I drive the car into turn 3, the harder I drive it into 3, the faster my laps are. So it just suits my driving style the way that it goes, and you got high speed, and keep the car underneath me, and it seems to be good.
Matt, let's switch up. So you win all that money, Fulton, 20 grand with the small blocks. Then you switch over to the big blocks for the rest of the weekend, shooting for 53,000 US, which is crazy money. Talk about how that program went. I think you got a flat at one point during qualifying, didn't you? And then had to go back and deal with all that stuff and get your tire changed. Like, you didn't have an easy way to enter these big checks, right?
No, that one, luckily we crossed the line for our first lap in time trials, and it was a good enough lap to get us into the Super 6 qualifying. And this was the first year for that. Nobody really knew what the rules were, whether we were going to be able to change a tire or not. But the dirt car officials wanted to get our tire changed so that we could get it over the scales before the Super 6 started, because if we were light, that would have put somebody else into the Super 6. So we get the flat, we get towed to the scales. They run to grab Spot to get a tire so that Spot can get the tire on the car. So at that point, really, you didn't have any spares ready or nothing, because you're out there time trialing. Not very often are you going to get a flat tire in 2 laps in time trials. So I think he just grabbed what was ever ready on the rack and brought it out to us. And we weren't even sure what stagger we had at that point. And went over the scales. We made weight. We pulled over to the side, and then they said, okay, you guys got to go out for the Super 6. So then the drama continued, because Justin Harris and Mark Johnson ended up getting flat tires. And with Oswego being in the infield and all the pit crews are on the outside, I don't think they were willing to wait for them guys. And which I said to Justin after, I'm like, I'm surprised they didn't let him change a tire, because his car was just a flat tire. Mark ended up in the wall, but ended up getting fast time, and then won the heat race. And then the feature was pretty drama free considering the rest of the week.
Picked up 53,000. Adam, what did you?
In the first 100 laps and the second 100 laps, because fans are always so hard on dirt car. The first 100 laps, tons of movement, tons of action. Second 100 seemed to quiet down. But what did you think of the track?
Unfortunately for the track crew, they kind of got the shaft because it was raining partially when we went out for the race. So I don't think they got to do the track prep that they wanted. I think they were scared it was going to rain. The fans would have got on them about how they went out and watered the racetrack and then it rained. What a dumb decision that was, blah, blah, blah. The typical stuff that you're going to see from the people on the internet. But so they didn't get to prep the track like they wanted to. They sprinkled a little bit of water. Obviously, it wasn't enough because it kind of latched down there at the end of the race. But if that was a 100-lap race for 53,000 to win, people would be blowing up the internet about how good it was. And unfortunately, the same people are probably going to be blowing up the internet if they make it a 100-lap race instead of 200, and then it's not Super Dirt Week tradition like it normally would be. So I think dirt cars in a tough position. No matter what, there's going to be people complain, and just like me, there's going to be people that don't like me that complain about what I do no matter what I do. So unfortunately, that's racing and the internet, and it's just one of the things that we all got to deal with.
So now, where are you with the point standings for the Super Dirt Car Series, and is the small blocks done now? Because I think you're up there in that too. So is it possible you could still win both titles with Brockville and the World Finals coming up?
Yeah, so the small block deal, I think I I think I wrapped up this weekend. I'm not really 100% sure. Somebody said that I did, and then when we were going through all the tech processes and I was pissed off at Dirt, I told them I wasn't even going to go to Brockville. But no, we ironed that all out, and we got the car ready today. So I think we got to go to Brockville and just try and win the race, focus on the race and not the points. I think the points have taken care of themselves. So the big block stuff is far from over. I think we got Brockville this weekend, Georgetown in 2 weekends, and then Charlotte the weekend after that. So there's 3 races in Charlotte every year now. So I think there's 5 left in total, and anything can happen. I mean, I think we got a 77-point lead, but like I said, anything can happen.
Matt, you don't have to tell us, but what could happen after you win a race in tech to make you mad enough to say you're not coming to the next race?
Yeah, no, I'm actually glad you asked that, because I'm getting ripped apart for complaining about tech. I want to clarify a lot of things with that. I was not upset about the tech process at all. I think that tech is crucial, and just like that place in Thorold when they did tire tests, I think that stuff needs to be done to make people see that there's a level playing field. Matt Williamson doesn't have a big motor, and here we can show it. So I kind of knew that they were going to pull my cylinder heads ahead of time. Like, it's a 20,000 to win race. They really should pull cylinder heads at every 20,000 to win race. But I was upset at the fact that I felt singled out. They didn't do any extensive tech to anybody else in the top 5. They didn't pull cylinder heads or intakes off of any other motors other than mine. So I felt singled out. I just felt like it was kind of a witch hunt. And I was upset about that. So after clarifying with Dean and talking to Dean and Mike and them guys, they say that every year from now on, they're going to do the winner only, which I'm not sure if I agree with. I think that they need to do 1 or 2 cars just because there's nothing really stopping somebody from showing up at Oswego next year with ported cylinder heads and having 20 horsepower more than anybody else and running second in the race and knowing that they're not going to get tech. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Me and Terry, once again, I put the cylinder heads on back on the motor today. Terry came over at 8:30 in the morning. I think we were done at 1:30 in the afternoon. So the toughest part with that is that things can get dirty, and you're not really in an environment that is probably the best for the motors that we run, and shit's expensive, man. It's not something that you want to drop a bolt down the intake or have dust going into the oil. But in the end, we're racing for 20,000. I think they need to pull cylinder heads or intakes off at every race that is 20,000 to win. So I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they clarified to everybody that we didn't have ported cylinder heads or anything bogus on our motor. And that's the most extensive tech that we've had in the 358 in probably, I'm going to say 10 years. So it was nice to see it happen. I just wish that there would have been 1 or 2 more cars. And listen, I'm not saying that anybody else was cheating. I just felt singled out. That was really the only reason why I was upset.
I'm kind of with you there. I don't think you can announce ahead of time we're only going to do the winners, because guys will run for 3rd, 2nd, 4th, and just take home that payday. You know what I mean? Guys who never – I think that's the thing. You got guys who would never maybe get there unless they are doing those extra things. Matt, where do you go from here? You just have those three stops left and we're done?
Yeah, we got Brockville this weekend. The following weekend, we're actually going to go to Eastern States. I'm really excited about that. Jeff and Harry have been working really hard, and the guys down there have been working really hard at getting a piece that's as close to what we normally run on a big block. Ryan, Jeff's son's going to have the motor we've won a ton of money with, and Jeff couldn't get another motor together in time, so he ended up getting a CC motor for that car. So that's going to be the same as what we were on Saturday night. So I'm super excited about that. And then I think Coco's picking up the W16 Friday to run their car that we were supposed to run at Oswego. We're going to run that at the Eastern States Small Block Race. The weekend after that is Georgetown, and then we're going to head right from Georgetown to Charlotte. So 4 more race weekends left, and should be a good end of the year. Hopefully the luck continues and we can pick up a couple more wins.
Sounds like a lot of fun, Matt. We'll be watching. Thanks, as always, for coming on. I know you got a lot of obligations after a win like that.
No problem at all, guys. I'm glad you had me on. It kind of gives me a place to voice my opinion. I don't really get to Facebook very often, and I don't like getting in fighting matches with people you don't even know. So at least I could clarify my side of the whole tech story. And yeah, always great to chat.
Hey, man, you're welcome here anytime. Matt, I got a question for you, and I'll let you go after that. You know, you have access to your own small block, so maybe it's a pointy question. Maybe you don't want to answer it. But you run your own small block, you get to keep all the winnings. You run someone else's car, you're splitting that. So why wouldn't you just take your own car that you could win to Brockville? Why take the offer to drive theirs? And I hope that's not being a rude question. Just fans want to know that.
No, I'm going to run my car at Brockville. That's the one behind me that we're getting ready.
Like Eastern States then.
Yeah. So I always feel like I've got a really good thing going because I drive for different car owners, so my stuff doesn't get worn out. My guys don't get burned out. It's a lot of work. This racing stuff is a ton of work, and I look at a guy. You know, I really admire how Matt Shepard does it. He does it all himself for the most part, and I admire that you know he doesn't have many mechanical failures doing it all out of his own shop. So it's tough. It requires a lot of work, but we really don't live in the most logistically correct area for Northeast Modifieds. So that's kind of why for me, you know, I spend 5 hours a race on the road longer than Matt Shepard would. So it's tough. I really don't think there's enough time in the week, especially in August and July, to race your own car all the time. And it's a lot of money to put these things together too. You know, to do the Super Dirt Series, you would need to have probably 3 cars and 3 motors. And luckily I got Buzz and them guys that focus on just the Super Dirt Series, and then I can kind of run my stuff at Canandaigua and the open races and just spread it out. It's just easier to spread everything out. And you know, when a pig becomes a hog, you shoot it. So you can't get too greedy in this sport.
Right on, Matt. Have a great night, bud.
That's a great note to end on.
Hey, before we let you go, thanks for getting Nat. Matt's wife is going to be joining Nikki on Give Me the Dirt here in the next few weeks, and that's super excited to get. I think Nikki's hitting this thing out of the park. She's got Josh Dottie's wife in the works too, so thanks for setting that up. We're excited to hear Natalie's side of what it's like to be married to Matt Williamson.
Yeah, no problem. Hopefully she doesn't get me in any trouble.
I hope she does.
I want to know, can Nikki call her money Nat?
Maybe. That's a good one.
All right. See you, Matt. Thank you for your time.
See you,
always,
guys.
buddy. Appreciate it.
See you, Matt.
I must have bugged Matt 7 times today. By the 4th time, I was, hey, man, sorry to bug you again. We had some questions about vinyl on these new plastic kind of bodies, and Steve Lyons is like, get me someone who knows. So I called Matt today, and we kind of hooked it up. All right.
Who's running plastic bodies?
It was somebody down in the States. Nobody around here. Like, it was for one of Glenn's cars down in, I don't know where. Where else do you want to go from here? So we've thought about vouchers. We talked a bit about Nikki's show, Give Me the Dirt. So she's working on a few interviews.
We're not quite done with vouchers yet.
I just got my blood pressure down. You want to raise me up again, eh?
I've had some birdies sending me messages, so I've got questions.
Sure.
How did teams qualify to earn the vouchers?
All teams with perfect attendance last year got 4 vouchers, and all teams that were registered at the March meeting got 3 vouchers, if you didn't have any prior history. So we gave the drivers with perfect attendance who would have got money last year.
So if you didn't have perfect attendance and you didn't go to the meeting, you could buy 50 tires this year and get nothing for it.
Correct. Okay. But why wouldn't you come to the meeting and register for $50, pay your registration then? And that was the bonus. That was part of the carrot to get you guys to register for us.
Yeah. That's fair. This particular person didn't complain to you.
Nope. What else you got?
Nothing.
All right, then. Yeah. You know what? Steve Shaw just brought up water trucks. I don't know if I sent Spencer that picture.
Ooh. Yeah, it was sounded like a bad weekend down in Buxton.
I don't know what happened at Buxton. I didn't get a chance to get Will on to get their side. There was some drama down there. I don't even know what to say, Adam, because like you always said, you got to do both sides of the story, and we don't really have any sides of the story. Don't. Except we do know that it was reported that you can tell what you want to tell. Go ahead.
Rain getting an official night in. The rules at most tracks haven't changed forever. It's 7 races make an official night. So if you get 7 races before it rains and the rain comes, there's no rain checks. If it rains before 7 races, you give out rain vouchers and you make up the night another night. But anymore, like on pavement, hell, they only run 7 races a night, so that'd be the full night. The concern I have with South Buxton is they don't have enough experience to know how that works. Like they don't understand what the industry standard is because they haven't been around the industry. So it's hard to. I can see where veteran racers might say this is wrong. It's wrong based on what you've experienced previously under previous management or under places that know a ton about short track racing and running a racetrack. The March family doesn't know a lot about running a racetrack still. Like there are still a lot of things that they encounter for the first time, right? I would imagine, without knowing all the sides. That is what happened here.
What we heard was that, we know there was a race Friday, Saturday. They got rained out partway through the first feature, which was the mini stock, I understand. And then they sent everybody home and no one got paid or reimbursed, is the understanding. And I could be off this. And that's why I'm really trying to tread lightly because I don't really know. And I know I'm going to get called a minute when we get off the air. So there's different rules, though, Adam, with kind of what you said. So there's different guidelines between the pits and the front, I would say. So as a fan, if you come in, you get your 7 races in. So like that's usually like if you get all the heats in one feature, you've typically got what we would consider your 7 races. Each heat is a race, so the fans may not get their $20 back. But the race teams in the pits who qualified for a feature, who didn't get anything back, no payment back, no splitting of the purse, no reimbursement at all, and no chance with it being the last weekend to give rain checks for next week. You got to do something. And I'm saying this with I don't know the whole situation, so I can't speak to it. But obviously, however it was handled, pissed a lot of people off in the western part of the dirt world on the weekend. And people got suspended for a year. There was rebuttals. There was a lot of arguing. And it's not a good scene for the whole thing when you're trying to close out. I feel sad for everybody down there. For the marches, because they don't want it to end this way. For the race teams that participate in it, the people that support it, who want the best for the track. Rain sucks all the way around, and you got to find your best way out of it. So I don't know if the doors were shut and said it's the way it is, but I think you owe it to the teams to at least. And I don't know how it was handled, but I think in my situation, and the argument was maybe the track shouldn't be profiting on a loss. And the race team shouldn't lose. But I think you have to have that open conversation to sit at the table and say, okay, maybe the track can't give you your $45 pit entry fee back totally because we both have to take a loss, but we'd be willing to give you $30 back. And I think if I had to sit down in front of our race teams, I could sell that to them that we both take a loss and we both go away feeling a bit better about the deal. Whatever happened, by Sunday night, not sure whether it was arson, vandalism, or just by happenstance, but the tractor and the water truck at Buxton were torched. Show the picture, Spencer. So I don't really know. I mean, when there's smoke, there's fire, pun intended there. I gotta feel like this is a retaliatory from somebody on the weekend. Do you have any thoughts on all that stuff I just blabbled on about?
No, I think you articulated it well. And you're right. The best point you made was there's a difference between the front gate and the back gate. those 7 races rule really does affect the front gate. It's one of those careful what you wish for situations, because when people piss and moan about stuff like this, that's when tracks start to pull the plug over a threat of rain, because they don't want to get involved. Yeah. It's a lose-lose. A rainy night, racing on a rainy night is a lose-lose proposition. So
there you go. Brock Gregory says all the drivers got a discount for the next night to get in the pits. So, they got to do something, and kudos to them for stepping up and doing it. I don't know why everybody was still all pissed off. It's a crappy deal for sure. It's not going to help them have good spirit going into the off season. It's just a crappy feeling all the way around. And to me, Adam, I think, like, if I'm looking at how we'd be in that situation, so if you paid your pit pass and we qualified a field for your feature, at some point we have to get a double feature in. You have to get that race completed, and we have to pay you out. If we don't get all of
the driver
qualifying, if we don't get all of the qualifying in, like say we get to 2 out of the 3 sprint car heats in, sorry, but we all got washed out. We don't have a field. We don't own a double feature for that. They would get rain checks, and it is what it is. So it can be very complicated. There's lots of money on the line. There's lots of passes to read. But, I mean, that's why even at our weekend, at our major events, we would love to give multi-day passes, because it's a lot easier. You only got to sign in once. You have your wristband for the weekend. But, man, if it looks like one of those days is questionable, we're only ever going to do single-day wristbands, because you don't want this problem to have to give back half of everybody's money a day and a half later. It's just, oh, man, it's the shitty part and the tough part about being a promoter is making sure you don't lose too bad, make sure everybody else don't lose. But, man, in the end, they end up losing their water truck, which sucks, Yeah,
but just that comment by Brock Gregory shows something was attempted by the track. So that's good.
And like I said, we weren't there. We had our heads down at Peterborough, so we don't really know what happened. Just watching the fireworks from across the province.
Literally.
Yeah. So, where do we go from here?
We go to sleep. We hibernate.
I had the busiest day I've had in months today with racing business. You wouldn't believe all the stuff we've been dealing with today. All good stuff, though.
Connor talked to me about maybe going to Eastern States weekend, and I have never been to Middletown, so that's a thought. Maybe a road trip is in order.
When's that, 2 weeks from now?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't see myself going to...
Do you remember when Dirt Week was so big and Eastern States was the whole thing? Were we just young and more eager about the whole thing and not so crusty then? Or was it really a bigger thing? Like, it seemed like what we know in Ontario is the playoffs. Like, the dirt playoffs after Labor Day were wild back then. Right?
Oh, the Fonda was always the first, I think. You had Labor Day, and there was a big show at... Yep. So, Labor Day was big show at Weedsport. I think it was the Fairgrounds and Rolling Wheels. Labor Day Monday. So that was the start of big things. Then I think they went to Fonda. The week after... might have been Rolling Wheels when they used to have the 200 lapper. 1 week or 2 weeks after that. And then you got into the Victoria 200. There's now the Outlaw 200. Now that's stupid nonsense about people stealing the rights to the name or who owned the rights to the name.
Wow, Ray Fryer says $5 off and a free transponder rental if you used one. Yeesh. Couple questions coming in. Cam asked me, did I harm any cones this weekend? Nope. I almost tripped over an old lady, so I gotta stop walking backwards. That's one thing I've learned. Unless I'm got one of those beepers and the light behind me, I'm not like a truck.
Yes.
And then Albert says Jack sure outran me on Sunday. Oh man, I was burnt out. And Adam, I know it. By the end of the year, I used to be able to leap those pit walls like they were a hurdle. Now I'm like, man, I don't know how many years I got running around chasing Jack. I can tell you that it's been hurting. Tough weeks.
Ben Hodgson was the first one to comment on the show tonight about what a great weekend. It was great to work with him. I think he's got a big future. And it was fun to work with Brendan and you and Charlie and the whole group. But I think Ben, there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, I think we keep forgetting how young he still is. Yeah, Ben, you got the magic, man. Like I said to you on Facebook, just keep waving your wand, buddy. You'll be all right. We always have a good time.
Cam,
we have good laughs.
If Cam gets a heated vest, I want his man card too. Buy a toque. Wear mitts. Wear a coat.
Oh, I could say so much right now. I'll just behave.
Vest. You are precious.
Hey, at least it's not covered in dirt,
really
grease, and coffee stains. You want to talk about what I look like? Why don't you stop showing up like a bum to deal where you're supposed to be one of the leaders of this industry? Try buying
Listen.
I give you clean sweaters. When have you guys shown up looking like a scrub the last 2 weeks or month?
I looked great. What was I wearing this weekend? I wore my Ashwegan Canadian Nationals hoodie Friday. That was sporty.
Yeah, that had giant coffee stains all over it. Have you looked at the front of that? What'd you spill down that all week?
Oh, that one's not too stained. The orange one is really stained.
Yeah.
That one I waited until bonfire time. Yeah, I waited until bonfire time for that. Some of us get dirty. Dude, try being my ass. Those stools up there.
How do you get dirty?
Those stools up in that. I was in that booth for 10 freaking hours. You got to wander around, have conversation. Like I had to sing people.
Okay, bullshit. You guys rotate off. You could disappear for 7 features up there. Nobody would care.
How many races did I take off?
They bring you every kind of food under the sun. I don't know.
All weekend, how many races did I take off? Zero. I was on my headset all weekend long.
I was there too, but I ran around 14,000 steps every day. And you drove up 60 to sit on the chair and eat cupcakes in the warm heat.
There was a lot of wrecks. You didn't go to. You didn't get Kelly Balson to do it. I'm still pissed off at Kelly Balson for not talking. I can't be. I guess cooler heads prevailed. I just thought that situation, I didn't get it.
No, but if you're a veteran and you know you don't have anything good to say, you probably want to see it back before you say something stupid. I can understand that.
I have a feeling that's maybe what went through his head because he realized if he saw it back, he would realize he stepped on his dinky and put himself in a position to get run over.
And then at the end, you're like, go talk to McCaddy and not McCaddy, to who was Archibald and Walters.
You went up there. I wanted you to talk to Ollie's dad, Rob, but you didn't do that. But I only asked the ones. I'm talking
about the later fight after the big fight in the pits after the hot rods.
There was 200 people in the pits chasing the action. We've got to cover that. Cam, it is a simple fix. What many people don't know is I was trackside for the first 10 years of our deal. And then Clint went up to the tower. And Clint, why did I wind up in the tower when I came back?
Well, for the full story, you and I were the announcers there. And then we both left. And Greg Callanan and Tommy Gooch took over. And then I ended up coming back halfway through that season, but they were in the tower then. So I just ended up being another roving reporter. And then Tommy at one point was even down at the other end of the track. We were both in the infield, and Greg was in the tower. And then, I don't know, somehow we came back. You just went up to the tower. Because you were a NASCAR and anchor by then.
You wanted nothing to do with the tower. Nothing.
No.
Keep me the hell out of that place.
I can't do that. I'll give you that. I may have had to walk around and freeze in my heated vest, but I cannot sit up in that tower for hours. I need the fresh air. I can't handle the chatter. It just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
mind it. I thought Abby did a pretty good job flying that drone, getting up into the action. You knew Walters and Archibald aren't going to fight. They'd both break their hips.
and you're like, go talk to them. What are we going to get other than a bunch of MFers more on the microphone? We just had 3 at the start of the race. It was nothing good was going to come with those conversations. You know.
Well, the trouble is, as they walk 10 pits from Archibald's pit to Walter's pit, you get all these crew people jaw-jack, and they just want their opportunity to swing at somebody and knock their tooth out, and then they come back and do the same thing.
And then Jack runs 50 yards ahead of me right into the middle of the fight, and I'm thinking someone's going to shove that camera back in his face, and now I'm going to have to get in like last year at ACC, so I'm trying to get into the battle. Oh my goodness, too wild. Greg says, Adam in the tower was my punishment for something. I still haven't figured out what yet.
What the hell is Greg doing watching this show?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Wow. Don't you have Weber Valley updates to make, Greg?
No promises, boys, but I have a tower building meeting on Tuesday because I heard Greg's not coming back unless he has a new tower.
Greg and I have a tower
this year. Said he wasn't coming back into this tower ever again, so we'll see how that goes.
Greg and I have a tower burning ceremony on Wednesday, so I hope your Tuesday meeting goes well.
Yeah, that's kind of my mission too. If we just tip it over, they'll have to build something new there quick. But we do have some thoughts in mind, so we'll see how quickly we can get this together. We may be calling from the top row of the grandstands for opening night, but by the time we get midsummer, we'll be good to go. No, you guys know. We'll figure it out. We'll work it out. Let's get out of here. Another week done. Don't forget, Nikki's back next Wednesday with another episode of Give Me the Dirt. We're every 2 weeks on that on Wednesday. I think that's kind of it for the time being till Cam comes back on Monday. So that's about it. We'll talk to you guys all next week. Appreciate it for hanging out. Oh, yeah. Autumn colors all weekend on G4. So we're mimicking the same times, right, Spencer? So whatever time it was on Friday this week, I think it was 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 12 o'clock on Friday, Saturday, Sunday for our full G-Force coverage. If you didn't catch any of it on Racing America, catch it all this weekend on the channel. Thanks for the update, Spence. That's it, bud. Anything else you got to add, Adam?
I think I've done enough. I'm looking forward to seeing your new tire program for next year.
We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.